A very special dish, salt crusted salmon. Beginning with a fresh Atlantic skinned salmon fillet, let's create our salt crust. The crust is comprised of kosher salt and egg whites. For this process, the only thing to keep in mind is that we need to combine well. You want to form a mixture that is completely amalgamous. It shouldn't have any dry pockets in it, and it should have the consistency of a dry mixture of grits and water. The next method in preparation is creating the actual crust. It's kind of the fun part and is a bit like playing with clay. What we're going to do is create a shape about the form and size of the actual salmon fillet that we're going to encrust. So beginning with our Lincoln Wherever hard coat quarter-size sheet pan, let's begin by spreading the salt crust down in a shape slightly larger than the salmon fillet. Once we've completed that rectangle, we can place the salmon directly on the salt crust. There's no need for use of spray or oil. This is a nice fatty fish, so that's not needed. Let's season using our Lincoln broiler seasoning. That recipe is also included in your recipe book or online. And then we're going to begin encrusting the salmon entirely using the rest of our salt crust. Let's begin by applying roughly 1/4 inch of the salt crust to the entire surface of the salmon. We can square off and clean the edges of the salt crust, kind of pushing it up on the sides to make sure that there are no exposed edges of the salmon, using a spatula until all the tips are sealed and we've got a nice square unit ready to go into the oven. It's a good idea to use the back of your spatula to square off your crust. Try to make sure that you've got 1/4 inch around for proper cooking. We're all set, and it looks like we're ready to go into the oven. Let's place our tray in the center of the belt at the beginning of the oven cycle, and per your recipe, we should be set at 5 minutes for 500 degrees. As the fillet comes out of the oven, you'll note the beautiful golden brown appearance. You can also rest assured that provided you've given it that 1/4 inch crust, the fillet is cooked all the way through. At this point, you have the option of plating up in front of the customer, or in this case, we're going to remove the fish from the crust in the kitchen. We've allowed it to cool slightly so that we can handle the crust, and you can crack this off using a knife or possibly the back of your spatula, and the rest will pull away easily. Then using your spatula, you can slide right in beneath the fillet, remove it, and plate up for service. One thing you can feel confident in when serving this salmon fillet is that it is certainly juicy. It has retained most of its moisture through the cooking process because of the salt crust, and it is definitely full flavored. Salt crusted salmon fillet.